Welcome to our Pharma 2023. Here I will present interactive data visualization for enhanced clinical trials reporting, work that stem from my contributions to the Wonderful Wednesday initiative over the last couple of years. In this talk, I will first introduce Wonderful Wednesday initiative. I will then describe some strategies and R packages I have used to enhance my data visualizations. Next, I will highlight some of my more innovative interactive entries. Finally, I will conclude with a slide providing links to the code of all my interactive and static entries in case you want to explore some of those in further details. Let's get started. What is it, Wonderful Wednesday? Wonderful Wednesday is an initiative by the Visualization Interest Group within the Statisticians in the Pharmaceutical Industry Group, PSI. It focuses on enhancing data visualization skills for clinical trials. The goal is to get statisticians involved in developing their data visualization knowledge and skills. Here is how it works. Each month, a new data challenge is provided. This challenge includes a relevant data set and a set of questions, often related to clinical trials. The data set gets distributed, and over the month, you work on your entry, you submit it, and those entries get discussed. The data set gets distributed through the Wonderful Wednesday GitHub. As you can see in these slides, I think the first entry started in March of 2020, and currently they are the last entry as of these slides was on September of 2023. All the data sets provided can be found in the GitHub repository attached here. Once a month, a group of experts meet to review the entries and provide feedback. This gives you insight into different approaches and ideas that you may have not thought out for your own visualizations. Discussion notes are available in the Wonderful Wednesday blog. Furthermore, each of these open meetings is recorded, and the video library is available for everyone. This is a huge resource where you can look back at past challenges, entries, and discussion to gain better knowledge on some of your own or of other people's visualizations. Now that we have briefly described the Wonderful Wednesday challenges, I will present several strategies that I have used in some of my entries to provide interactive visualizations. First, let me introduce the Trelliscope, a scalable, flexible, interactive approach to visualization data. I provide you here with the link so you can explore this package in more details. For this package, what I have created is a small toy example using the Adam ADLB dataset. In here, the first part, I write a simple code in which I create the ggplot within my dataset. This approach, I like to call it the nesting approach, where you break down your original data into small groups of data sets, probably for each individual, or for, in this case, for each individual for these parameters, where the data set is stored within a row of the so-called nested data frame. Then you proceed to do the plotting within each row. Once that is generated, as is the case in here, you pass that data set with the individual plot to the telescope. The report, and then it gets generated automatically. This is the telescope. We will refer to this briefly in more details. I want to also highlight that, sorry, I want to also highlight that the telescope has this facet telescope function. So you can do a telescope in a fast way and obtain your app with a smaller amount of code, such as I have described here in this toy example. Now let's investigate a little bit here the telescope. I have just zoomed in. You have a grid where you can change the rows and the columns to displayed. You have labels where you can add or remove labels to make the interaction or the explanations easier to follow. You can filter the data. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to filter the data by the parameters, and I'm going to check only the base of fields. And then you can sort the data. In this case, it's sorted numerically by the subject ID. We can do it descending, we can do it ascending, but what may be more useful is to sort out by what is called a cognostic, a statistic that describes these individual plots. I'm going to choose the standard deviation, and I'm going to sort it by descending order. So here you can see out of these participants, the subset of participants, from the most variable to the least variable, which you can find here. I have also made these plots, uh, I have made them with Plotly, so you have access to the tooltip that can be useful when exploring the individual plots. Next is the Flex dashboard, an R package that make interactive that dashboards using R markdowns easier to follow. Here I have created code where I can provide you 8 examples, albeit there is many examples you can do, of different layouts available in the Flex dashboard. For example, the first page shows you different areas where you can use some areas for the whole row, some divided within row, and a tab in the side. There is many different layouts that you can choose and many different tiles or slides that you can put in there. You can also do it with pages, as I have highlighted here, or you can use small icons to display your data. This can also be complemented with CSS if you really want to tap into a lot more power of how to update or the look of these dashboards. In this example that I provide here, the source code is available, so you can see how you can do each of these examples with reproducible code. Next, let's talk about reactable table. This is another interactive tool that I have used to make reports created with the same theme I have told you earlier about providing the data within the nested rows. Sometimes I like to call this the nested data frames. Again, I provide for this example a toy code developed again with the ADLB dataset. And as you can see and highlighted, as I highlighted earlier, we create the ggplot within each row for each participant by a param. And then we create the React table in where the a figure gets nested within the row. Here is such a report, simple, where you can see each participants, their descriptive statistics, their descriptive variables, and you can here have access to the plot for that individual. These are the basophils, but for that individual, you can also choose the eosinophils, and you can have some interactivity for these figures by just subsetting on a particular participant or just sorting by age, by gender, or by other variables. I have an example coming where I do a similar effort with a little bit more interactivity. Now that I have shown you these three tools, for the wonderful that I have used a lot in my wonderful Wednesday entries, I like to highlight three examples that I actually submitted during during some of these entries. The first one is this continuous glucose monitoring challenge from August 2021, where the goal was to look at the raw data and display some of the results. Here you can see overall, I present the report in a Flex dashboard, as you have seen earlier. You have this tab, for example, have different pages, and there is other tabs here. Focusing on the first tab, you can see that for each participant, for each visit, I display the data, the overall data. You can now, as I have shown you earlier, navigate a little bit. You may want to focus on a particular participant, or you can focus on a particular treatment, etc. For example, we can come here and focus only on the placebos. And then we can see the results here for the placebos, and we can go and look at each of these placebos results. The model results, here I have used recursive partitioning to report the results, and you can see that for this data, we have significant finding indicating that the higher percent of normal range, this green area or anything that is below the green, is maximized for the for the treatment that is medium to high, followed by low, followed by standard of care, and finally the baseline. So you can see these results within the dashboard. Furthermore, I can use different statistics to report the results, and these statistics are displayed here as drop downs. Finally, in a different page, I have included a table now where each of these statistics is presented with the name, the R function to created, and the R name. Furthermore, I have hyperlinks to the different references where these statistics are presented. So as you can see, the whole presentation or the whole analysis is presented within this report. We have some interactivity from the individual participant data to the model results and other statistics. Next, I'm going to talk about the patient profiler. I have created this for another challenge, and this is again data set. The wonderful Wednesday provide this data set, and I was able to create for each participant a, a individual figures for each of these data sets. For example, we can focus on the four participants here. We can look at their concomitant medications, and we can see the graph for that. We can also look at the AEs graph or the exposure to see details about that participant exposure. Furthermore, we can look at the ADLB dataset, focus on the chemistry or the hematology. For that, I have created within each participant nested figures that are, in this case, displayed as spark lines. And you can see, for example, this, you can see a little bit the interactivity there, the ranges, the normal ranges. And here you can search if you're interested in the phosphate, for example, you can search that. Similar searching capabilities are available here, as we were talking earlier about the basophils, as a basophils, etc. So you can see all the data from these participants in a very nice report by using the Flex dashboard, by using React tables, and by nesting figures within React tables. You can get really a lot of the possibilities of inquiring about the data with ease. I can include here some of the definitions of the data sets that was used for this particular example. Next, I will finally introduce the dataxray. This again came from a wonderful Wednesday challenge where the task was to represent the descriptive statistic of an ADSL data set in a well-put manner. I have for that, the code is here. You can see that there is a code. The code is simple to create the result in the RStudio viewer, or to create the results within an actual report. For the ID viewer, you can see here, this is an ADSL data set. For each variable, we have a variable type. It can be character, numeric. I think there is also a possibility to be in dates. You have the variable name, the variable label, the number of observed, missing, distinct, and these little histograms or bar charts are interactive. So for example, if I want to focus on age, I can search for age. And now we can see that it continues, it clicks out, and you can see the descriptive statistics here. You can see the lowest, the top, the 5 lowest, the 5 highest, and you can see a little bit the distribution of this variable. The report does something very similar, but instead it nested as we did before, is nested within a Flex dashboard. And here you can search by variable, but you can further look. For example, if you're looking at the percent missing, those that have more than 15% missing, here are the variables. You can do the same if you're looking for the number of distinct values. This report can be created quite easily for those data sets that are in a long structure, just as ADLB, by passing the param state, the param variable. And as you can see here, that it automatically does the transformation for you. So here, if we focus on the eval variable, you can see, you can simply click on some of these and you will see the distribution of those with the um, statistic, the representation of the statistics here, um, the number of observed, the number of distinct, etc. And this is again can be done through the ID viewer or through our report. Here for a discussion for you, if you want to inquire further, I have put the links to the expert panel discussions of these 3 submissions of mine and the ideas that they have mentioned, and sometimes those are great ideas that I go ahead and I include in my code in a second wave, or if I do this for later for my work. Finally, I want to include some of my other wonderful Wednesday entries. Some are static, some are interactive, and you can go through this and look at some of them and decide. They are all available, they are open source, they are all in my GitHub repository that is linked throughout this presentation, and you can look at some of them and see if you get some ideas, or if you need something along these lines, you can try to look at some of this of the code that I use for them. Here I'm just walking through a few examples. I have participated for probably 2 years, and I have a fair number of entries. It has been a great source of learning for me. Finally, if you have questions, my email is attached here, or if you need to access the slides of the code, they will be available for you in the link GitHub. Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you.